What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with just a little sneak peek of Andrew Jacked, just a week away from this year's Texas Pro. So the man is planning to win this show for the third consecutive year. And I don't think there is anyone out there who can stop him. Because the thing is, that guy is the 5th best bodybuilder in the world right now. And that's from last year. And I don't think there is anyone out there who can stop this new version of Andrew Jacked from winning this title again. So we cannot see a lot from this update. But the sheer dryness and the muscle quality looks absolutely insane. So Andrew is a very unique athlete. He is over 6 feet tall with some of the best aesthetics, if not the best aesthetics in the men's open bodybuilding right now. And honestly, I have to say, if Andrew's back, if it was as good as his front, he might have won Miss Olympia title already. Because that is how good this guy is from the front. He is Mr. Olympia all day. Because isn't this exactly what Nick Walker said about Andrew Jacked? That he can beat all of us if he adds some more thickness. And you better believe that this new version that we are about to see at this year's Texas Pro, this is gonna be way more improved compared to what we saw at last year's Miss Olympia. And obviously not just in terms of conditioning, because Andrew was kinda off at last year's Miss Olympia in terms of conditioning. But that's the thing, that is how good his structure is. Because even when he wasn't exactly on, still he was able to place top 5 in the world. Because his structure is just so damn superior. But I 100% believe this is most probably gonna be his best version ever, a bigger, more conditioned version. Because this was his first real off season ever since he turned pro back in 2022. And one of the biggest reasons why Andrew skipped this year's Arnold, so that he could give his body some rest, some break, and the fact that he need to improve on some body parts. And that required some off-season time. So Andrew's look at this year's Texas Pro, that is gonna give us a solid idea on where he's gonna place at this upcoming Miss Olympia in October. Is the mutant Nick Walker trolling his competition by posting old check-in pictures? Yes, we all know that Nick posts the most transparent pictures with the worst possible lighting and no filters at all. But how is it possible that Nick's 16 weeks out check-in update of the same shot, the front lat spread, which by the way is his biggest shot, how is it possible that he looked way better at 16 weeks out mark versus 10 weeks out today? And yes, I have also taken into account the fact that he won this year's New York Pro very early in the year. But still, that 16 weeks out update that was taken a few weeks after winning the New York Pro. So we all know that Nick Walker likes to play this game. And most of his physique updates, they aren't exactly overwhelming. Because he takes those pictures on the empty stomach, first thing in the morning, without any pump, without any solid lighting. While all these other guys, they usually post their updates fully pumped. But even then, I have to say we have to be really real here. Nick's chances of winning this year's Miss Olympia, which is of course his goal, they are very much dependent on the top competitors like Hadi Choopan and Derek Lunsford missing their mark on the day of the show, missing their peak, not showing up at their 100%. And that was precisely the assessment of his coach Matt Jensen as well, because both him and Nick Walker believe that the physique that Hadi Choopan presented at this year's Arnold Classic stage, that is currently the best physique in the world. And for Nick Walker to beat Hadi Choopan this year, they need him to come in off. They need him to miss their mark. But before that, before Nick gets to Hadi Choopan and Derek, there is a lot of tough competition, particularly Samson Dauda, who he has to beat first. Because the last time these two guys went against each other, Samson was able to beat Nick. So do let me know what you guys think. What are the chances of Nick Walker winning this year's Miss Olympia? Tampa Pro Classic Physique and 212 went down yesterday, and we now have another rising star in Classic Physique division. So this guy is gonna be very popular in the future. Justin Badurina. He wins his first ever Classic Physique competition and punches his Olympia ticket. And this wasn't an easy lineup at all, because he was able to beat a hard favorite here, Gabrile Zancanelli, who has been competing at the Olympia level for the last 2 years. He was also able to beat Dancovea Anderson, who is also known as Black Panther, who is another former Olympian. And last but not least, he was able to beat a phenomenal version of Fabian Syvan, who is already qualified for this year's Miss Olympia by winning Charlotte Cup. So why am I saying that this guy is gonna be immensely popular in the future? He not only has a great physique, but he has a physique that is reminiscent of the champ Chris Bumstead himself. Plus he also has the looks that are ideal for the magazine covers. The front lat spread is his power shot, just like Cbum. He has such wide lats, just like Chris Bumstead. He has that crazy width And this is just his first pro win as an IFB pro, and I'm sure one of many more to come. So it was a hard-fought battle between him and Gabrile, because Gabrile was able to beat him in certain areas, in certain aspects, like his arms. They were better than Justin. Plus the upper half of Gabrile in that back double biceps. That was so damn good. But that overall look of Justin, that was so overwhelming. And at the end, that is what mattered. So for the record, Gabrile is also qualified for this year's Miss Olympia. So this was a warm-up show for him, before the big dance. But now we have another rising star among those classic physique ranks. So Justin will continue to work on his arms, specifically his triceps, because that might be one of his biggest weaknesses. So people keep talking about the 90s conditioning all the time. Well, let's appreciate the unreal condition and shirts that all of these top guys are bringing in classic physique. From first to fourth, everyone was absolutely peeled out of their minds, bone shredded, extremely dry. So Fabian Syvan was just happy to be on that stage with all these big names. So he isn't just all hype, and him getting compared to Gabrile last night, that really showed how great he can be in classic physique division in the future. And the fact that he isn't afraid to compete in deep lineups, like the one we saw in Tampa, despite having earned his Olympia spot in particular, that is really impressive. So Fabian arguably had the best arms in this lineup, and he continues to thrive as a classic physique competitor, because switching to men's open bodybuilding, that was kind of an adventure for him. Well, let's just all have a consensus over one fact, that men's open bodybuilding, that is the hottest division out there, and most of classic physique guys, they have to train and eat big for years and years before they become somewhat competitive in the men's open bodybuilding division. So I cannot imagine the top 10 in classic physique division that we are gonna have at this year's Miss Olympia. They are absolutely stacked. A very well-deserved victory for Jordan Michael, who wins the 212 class of Tampa Pro and qualifies for this year's Miss Olympia. So the guy isn't done just yet, and the next stop is gonna be Texas Pro in just a few days' time. So congrats to him. But I do wanna mention the guy who placed fourth in this lineup, a real veteran of the sport, David Henry, who has been competing as a pro for more than 2 decades now. And he has shared the Olympia stage with the likes of Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, and many others, who are considered the legends of the sport. So David Henry was the first ever 202 Miss Olympia back in the day, and he continued to place second behind Flex Lewis in the 212 division as well. So the big change that almost everyone can see on David's physique now, on the first glance, is that his waistline that isn't the same as it used to be in his prime. But this is quite normal for a guy who is gonna be turning 50 next year. But as of right now, he has no intentions of retiring from professional bodybuilding. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.